Hello, my name is Barbara. Welcome to Around the WNBA. The Indiana Fever won the Commissioner's Cup. Now, how many of you that are viewing this video right now thought that the Fever was going to win? How many of you thought the Fever was going to lose? How many of you have been fans of the Fever but still thought they were going to lose? Why? Because they were playing against the Minnesota Lynx. The Minnesota Lynx have lost a couple of games, but they're still top in the standings. But what does that mean? When someone is ranked top in the standings, what does that really mean? Does that mean that they will never lose? No. Does that mean that they are better than other teams? No, not at all. Tonight, we saw the Indiana Fever beat the Minnesota Lynx in the Commissioner's Cup. Tonight, the Indiana Fever were a greater team than the Minnesota Lynx. Bottom line. Bottom line. And they played well throughout the four quarters. Let's talk about something that's important here. I want to talk to you about transition. You know as well as I know is when we go through transitional times, transitional periods of time in our lives, when things are happening that we don't understand or situations come up and we get into this time of transition, times of adjusting, if you will, they can be difficult. And for the Indiana Fever, as well as other teams, they're in a time of transition. There have been things that have happened, maybe injuries, people coming and going, people being waived, uh, pieces being put on teams and taken off of teams. A lot's been going on, and we're still early into the season. In those times of transition, either people will get with the flow of what has to happen or they won't. Either they will adjust and recalibrate or they won't. I see the Indiana Fever adjusting and recalibrating. There was a time when they played without Caitlin Clark and they fell apart. They didn't know what to do. They weren't communicating. They weren't connecting. And we could see it on the floor. We could see it right there as they were on the court. I believe those days are over because now the Indiana Fever, the team, they know that if Caitlin Clark is not there shooting her 3-pointers or is not, able to be there for whatever reasons, injuries or whatever, that they can still function at a high level and win games. Even games that are on it that they are not expected to win, like the Commissioner's Cup. And that sets up a level of confidence in each team member on the Fever. And we'll see it in their shooting. We'll see it in how they are defending the court. We'll see it, in how they're passing the ball. We'll see it when they go off in the paint. We'll see it when they do fast breaks. We'll see all of these things. We'll see because of the level of confidence they have now. Not cockiness, just plain confidence. So there's lots of learning to be had during times of transition. Who's learning? Coach White is learning how to work with her players. She's learning. And the coaching staff, they're learning. What's been working, what doesn't work. The teammates of the Fever, the players, they're learning about who they are as professional basketball players. And what was inside, maybe dormant in some of them, is starting to emerge. That grit, that aggressiveness, that boldness, that confidence is starting to emerge from certain team members more than others. We see it. We see that now they go into battle. And as Kelsey Mitchell said one time when they had lost a game, that that she was soft or that they had been soft. You cannot be soft and play basketball professionally. Because if you're soft and you're trying to play basketball professionally, your opponent is going to sniff that out and know that. And guess what? They're going to run right over you. Yep. And so now we see that the Indiana Fever are not soft. They're not playing soft. They're playing with intent. They're playing with boldness. And that makes a difference. And they have been consistent, more so. And just aside here with Caitlin, we know it's hard for Caitlin to be on the bench, of course. But her being on the bench with her injury is going to give her a perspective, maybe from a coach's view, but also from a player's view. It's going to give her a perspective that she didn't have before. And guess what? It's going to do another thing. It's going to do something else. It's going to give her a balance. It's going to allow her to experience balance in her life. She's the competitor. She is the woman who has an high IQ in basketball. She's a passionate player. All those things are true. She's a point maker. All those things are true. And what sitting on the bench does is it sprinkles in humility. Humility says, I can't do everything. I am not everything to everybody. I don't know some things. And I'm still teachable and I want to learn. And I believe right now that balance has been put in motion for Caitlin. Not that it wasn't there before, but during this time of transition for her and for the team, it's up front and personal. It's really close. And you have to look through that kind of lens because you're confronted by it. And she's confronted by that. And she's handling it wonderfully. She's supporting her team. She's cheering them on. She's got their back. And these are all good things. So don't underestimate what can happen in times of transition. A lot of learning can take place if someone's open to it. So, and the thing with the Minnesota Lynx, they are a good team. Absolutely. But they're also a team of human beings. And sometimes their day is not going to be a great day. Sometimes they're not going to be the greater one that's going to win the game. It's going to be somebody else. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I was online and I was reading about how ESPN had already, set it up that they were going to give the win already to Minnesota. Like they had already thought that the Indiana Fever weren't going to win. I'm so happy that they closed ESPN's mouth and that they won the Commissioner's Cup. The other thing that I want to talk about is this. As we go through the season, and there will be lots of up and downs still to come. But I believe that the Indiana Fever has the opportunity to get to the playoffs. Are they the only team? No. But I think they're going to have a legitimate, good run to get to the playoffs. Because what they're learning now about each other and their team is going to carry them through further than they thought they could possibly go. Tonight in the game, and I'll just say a little bit and then I'll go into the scoring. Tonight in the game, Natasha Howard was spot on. She was the MVP of the Commissioner's Cup. She earned 16 points. And she was really on point. She was watching and she was listening. She was speaking. And she was good in the paint. She was spot on. Kelsey Mitchell, same. Did the work. Avery McDonald did the work. Lexi Holt did the work. Sophie did the work. Colson did the work. Now I want you to really pay attention to this. Colson has stepped up her game. You see, one thing about being on a team, there's competition, even between team members. It's friendly. And so you have your other teammates stepping up. You have Eri who's come on. She's brought a bright light and stepped things up. You have Natasha Howard who has stepped things up. You have Boston who's doing wonderfully. You have Cunningham and Lexi doing their thing. There's no way that you cannot not step up if you're Colson to play your part to be on the team. Because again, I'm going to stress this. There are some members on the Indiana Fever that are not protected players. And if they're not producing, they could be let go. Bottom line. Okay? So the only players that can, maybe take a break or relax or whatever, or don't really sort of have that enthusiasm sometimes, are usually players who are protected, who know that if they get waived, they're still going to get paid. Because in their contract, it's there. So now, what's happening now with different teams, if you're not producing, if you're not getting with the program of your team, you could be let go. So Colson has picked up her game. Now, is she perfect? No. She needs to score more? Yes. Absolutely. But she's improving. So let's look at some of the scores. Okay. In the first quarter, it was 12 Indiana Fever and 20 Minnesota Lynx. So right there, the Fever they were trying to get their footing. They were trying to make things happen. But the Lynx were on top. Second quarter, Fever 20 and the Lynx 7. Now the Indiana Fever are making a stand. And they're holding the Minnesota Lynx so they can't get buckets. So their defense has increased. Third quarter, 20 Fever and 15 Lynx. Still pressing. Indiana Fever still pressing, still holding them, and still operating their defense. In the fourth quarter, 22 the Fever and 17 the Lynx. That tells you that throughout the whole, from the first to the fourth, they were actively practicing good defense. And they really went from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. They sustained. And as each quarter went, they increased defense. They didn't they didn't minus or they didn't subtract defense. They increased their defense. And it ended with the score being 74 the Fever and 59 the Lynx. Now for the Indiana Fever, Howard had 16 points and she had 4 assists, 12 rebounds, 9 defensive rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds. Field goal was 4 out of 10. Okay. Boston had 12 points. Field goals 5 for 15. And she had 6 assists, 1 block, and 2 steals. Mitchell, 12 points, 6 of 16 field goals. She didn't shoot. She shot 5 3-pointers, but didn't make any of them. And she had 3 assists. McDonald had 5 out of 6 field goals, 2 out of 3 3-pointers, and she ended up having 12 points. And she had 1 assist, 2 blocks, and 1 steal. Lexi Hall had 6 points, 2 out of 3 3-pointers. Field goal was 2 out of 3. She had 1 assist and 2 rebounds. The bench. Timpson played. She didn't make any points, but she had 2 rebounds and 1 steal and 1 block. Colson had 1 of 6 in field goals, 1 of 3 3-pointers, and 3 points in the game. She had 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 rebound. Cunningham, 4 of 6 field goals, 3 of 5 3-pointers, 13 points in the game. And she had 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 rebound. That was pretty good. Now for the Lynx, we had Bridget Carlton with 0 points. We had Alana Smith, 15 points, 3 out of 7 3-pointers. Collier had 12 points. McBride had 7 points. Courtney Williams had 11 points. And for Courtney, she had 4 assists. McBride had 3 assists. Collier had 3 assists. Now from the bench, Shepard had 9 points. Maria had 2 points. And Heidelman had 3 points. Tonight, the attendance at the game, Commissioner Cup's game, was 12,778 people. And I am happy that they won the Commissioner's Cup. Because it also tells the team that through adversity, through transition, they can still win. They can still win. There was a time there where Collier got a little chippy with Boston, or tried to, anyways, with words. I think that she was frustrated. Understandably. It was a game that they will not forget. We will not forget. Minnesota Lynx will not forget. And I think the refs did a pretty decent job by being fair across the board. Pretty much. Could have been, always can be improved, but They did a pretty good job. And let me just say this too. I just got to say this aside because I've been thinking about this. There are some players, the players who did some ratings about, you know, point guards. They rated Caitlin number 9 in terms of the players rated her number 9. That doesn't make any sense to me. You have a player like Caitlin Clark in her first year that made so many firsts and accomplishments that no one else has or did when they were rookies. You have Caitlin Clark, who, compared to the ones they had before her, that they placed before her, didn't make any sense. And the thing that I'm just interested in saying here about this, and then I'll move on, is if she was not a threat to other teams, then why do you guard her so much? Why do you put 2 or 3 people on her? Why do people try to hurt her in some kind of way, or to get her to be to foul out? If she wasn't a threat, then y'all wouldn't be doing any of those things. None of those things are happening to you. Think about it now. So why would you put her at number 9? That tells me that still there's a lot of jealousy regarding Caitlin Clark with other teams and some members in those teams. And that's unfortunate because she's the one that's raking in revenue for the WNBA. She's the one that is really been a change agent since she arrived in the WNBA. Enough said. All that said. Let me just say this: Indiana Fever team, congratulations on winning the Commissioner's Cup. You deserve that win. You got that win. You took that win. You won that battle. Congrats. Now, if you have enjoyed this content, if you have enjoyed just my impression or perspective on things, then I invite you, yes, you, to subscribe to my channel. And also give me a thumbs up because that helps. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and you can help me with that. And don't forget to tap the bell so that you'll be notified when new content is available. Like always, my name is Barbara. Around the WNBA. It's been real. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time. Peace.